If you're like most people, you probably think joint pain is just, well, an inevitable part of getting older, a one-way street of wear and tear. But get ready, because we're about to change how you think about that. Today, we're not just talking about how to manage pain, we're going to dive deep into the new science that shows our bodies have this incredible built-in power to actually repair their own joints. Okay, let's start with something I know we've all experienced. You bend down, you stand up, you're just walking up the stairs, and you hear it. A pop, a crack, maybe a snap. And that little voice in your head goes, uh-oh, is that the sound of my joints falling apart? It's a super common worry, but what is really going on in there? Well, here's the good news, and this comes straight from the experts at the Cleveland Clinic. That sound has a name. It's called crepitus. And most of the time, it's just harmless little gas bubbles popping in the fluid that keeps your joints lubricated. So here's the bottom line. Unless that pop or crack comes with actual pain or swelling, it's not a sign of damage. It's really just a little bit of harmless physics happening inside your body. Phew. All right, so here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the pop and the promise to get past some old myths. Then we're going to uncover something called your inner salamander. And yes, you heard that right. After that, we'll put together the joint repair toolkit, find out why timing is everything, and finally pull it all together into a blueprint for your joints. So let's jump right into our first section, the pop and the promise. This is all about challenging that old, kind of depressing idea that our joints are basically like car tires, just destined to wear out with no hope of ever getting better. Turns out, science is telling a very different and much more hopeful story. For decades, the story we were all told was pretty simple, right? Your joints are like machinery. Every step you take, every jump, every movement just grinds them down bit by bit, leading straight to pain and arthritis. But what if that's only half the story? What if that's not the full picture at all? And here it is. This is the promise. Your body is always, and I mean always, in a state of rebuilding. It's constantly breaking down old tissue and building new tissue. And guess what? Your joints are no different. They have their own active, ongoing repair process. So the real question isn't if they can rebuild, it's how can we help them do that job even better? Which brings us to our second section. And honestly, this is my favorite part, your inner salamander. I know, it sounds like something out of a comic book, but this is where we see just how incredibly powerful our body's potential for regeneration really is. This is where it gets truly amazing. A groundbreaking study from Duke Health in 2020 found that we humans have a regenerative ability that's a lot like a salamander's. It's all managed by these tiny molecules called microRNAs. And this discovery helps explain something doctors have seen for years. Why does an ankle injury heal so much better than a hip injury? Well, it's because this salamander capacity is strongest in our ankles and feet, at the very ends of our limbs, just like a salamander regrowing its tail. We all have this incredible power. It's just stronger in some places than others. Okay, so if we have this amazing inner salamander, how do we support it? What does this internal repair crew need to do its job right? That brings us to section 3, the joint repair toolkit. Let's look at the specific, science-backed nutrients that can fuel this incredible process. The easiest way to think about this is to divide our toolkit into two teams, the builders and the firefighters. The builders, things like collagen and vitamin C, provide the actual bricks and mortar to construct new, healthy tissue. Meanwhile, the firefighters, like certain herbs and fatty acids, are there to put out the fires of inflammation, creating a safe job site for the builders to work. The thing is, you absolutely need both for a successful rebuild. So let's start with those firefighters. Research has identified some really potent anti-inflammatory herbs. Just take a look at this table. For rheumatoid arthritis, a specific type of turmeric was found to be as effective as NSAIDs for pain and stiffness. For knee osteoarthritis, boswellia helped improve both pain and physical function. And for low back pain, devil's claw was also shown to be as effective as NSAIDs. These aren't just old folk remedies. We're talking about clinically effective tools for putting out that fire. Another critical firefighter you need on your team is omega-3s. Think of it like this. Your body has an on switch for inflammation, which is good when you need it, but it also needs an off switch. Omega-3s, especially EPA and DHA, are the key ingredients for that off switch. The problem is, our modern diets give us way too many on switches and not nearly enough off switches. And the science backs this up. Studies show that getting enough EPA and DHA can seriously reduce joint pain and help bring that system back into balance. Okay, the fire is under control. The site is safe. Now, how do we bring in the builders to start the reconstruction? This leads us to our fourth and honestly, maybe the most actionable section. Timing is everything. It's not just about what you take, but when you take it that can make all the difference. And this, right here, is the stunner. A landmark study found something absolutely incredible. Taking vitamin C-enriched gelatin, which is basically just a food-based source of the building blocks in collagen, 1 hour before a short burst of activity can literally double the rate your body makes new collagen. That's not a 10 or 20% bump, we're talking double. This is a complete game changer for how we can approach joint repair. So what's the exact recipe? It's almost shockingly simple. Step 1, you take about 15 grams of gelatin with some vitamin C. Step 2, you wait 1 hour. That's the key time for all those repair materials to peak in your bloodstream. And then, step 3, you do just 6 minutes of light activity, something like jumping rope. That little bit of exercise acts like a pump, driving those building blocks directly into your connective tissues to supercharge the repair process. It's brilliant. So we have the science, we have the tools, and now we have the timing. Let's put it all together in our final section, a blueprint for your joints. This is about taking all these amazing breakthroughs and turning them into a consistent, long-term strategy that you can actually use. Now, this is probably one of the most important slides, because we have to be realistic. This isn't a magic pill. You've got to be patient. In the first month, you might just notice a little less stiffness when you wake up. The real noticeable relief in pain and discomfort often starts to build between that second and third month, and the full maximum effect kicks in after 3 months of consistent use. That's the key word right there, consistency. You have to stick with it to give your body the time it needs to rebuild. So, if you take just one thing away from all of this today, please let it be this. Forget the old idea of passive decay. Joint health is not a losing battle. It's an active, dynamic process. It's a system your body is constantly trying to rebuild. And with the right tools and the right timing, you can become an active partner in that process. You can support your body's own incredible ability to heal itself. And that kind of leaves us with one final amazing thought. We've just learned that we all have this hidden salamander-like capacity for regeneration just waiting to be supported. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If we can unlock this, what other incredible potentials are hidden deep inside our own biology, just waiting for us to discover them?
All right, quick reset. Blink twice, stretch your shoulders, and don't worry, your health lesson isn't over yet. We're switching gears now, but this next topic is just as important for your body. And if you care about staying healthy the smart way, make sure you're subscribed.
You know, when it comes to strong bones, we all think we've got it figured out. But what if the biggest piece of advice you've ever gotten is just a tiny, tiny piece of the puzzle? Today, we're digging way past calcium to find out what really keeps your skeleton strong for the long haul. Okay, let's just get right into it. We've all had it drilled into our heads since we were kids, right? Drink your milk, take a calcium pill, and your bones will be rock solid. But here's the thing, that's kind of like saying a football game is won only by the quarterback. Is it really that simple? For decades, the message has been super clear, almost like a broken record. Calcium, calcium, calcium. It's been pushed as the one and only hero for preventing osteoporosis, a really serious condition that affects millions of women all over the world. It's the star of the show. But that's exactly where the story starts to get way more interesting. The science is showing us that, yeah, calcium is important. It's crucial, no doubt, but it absolutely does not work alone. See, bone health isn't a solo performance. It's a team sport. And calcium, it's just one player on a really big, really important team. So, if calcium is our star quarterback, then who in the world are the other players on the field? Let's go ahead and meet the rest of the starting lineup. I mean, just look at this roster. It's not just one or two other nutrients helping out. We're talking about magnesium, which is what actually flips the on switch for vitamin D. And you've got zinc, which is essential for the cells that build bone. And vitamin K, which is like the superglue that helps calcium stick to your bones. Every single one of them has a critical job to do. And if they're not there, calcium is basically just sitting on the sideline. And here's a real reality check from an expert in this space, Dr. Susan E. Brown. She says that for most of us, trying to get enough of all these different nutrients just from the food we eat is, well, it's almost impossible. And that really highlights why understanding the whole team, not just the star player, is so important for a real bone health strategy. Okay, so to really wrap our heads around this team idea, we're going to pull two players from that long list and shine a big spotlight on them. These are two unsung heroes you probably don't think about when you hear bone health, but the evidence for what they can do is, well, it's pretty powerful. So our first unsung hero isn't some rare, expensive supplement. It's actually a humble fruit, the prune. And the latest science is revealing that it's a total powerhouse for protecting our bones, especially for postmenopausal women, who are the most at risk for bone loss. So what's the magic number? How much does it actually take to make a difference? Well, clinical trials have really nailed this down. The number is 50 grams a day. That's about 5 or 6 prunes. Super simple, right? It's a small thing you can easily add to your day. And the results you get from this are pretty amazing. That small daily amount has been shown to actually prevent the loss of bone mineral density in the hip. But that leads to the big question, right? How on earth does a simple little fruit pull off something so powerful? Okay, this diagram might look a little complicated, but the idea behind it is actually really simple. Just think of your bones like a construction project that is always active, 24/7. You've got your builders, these cells right here called osteoblasts, they build new bone. And then you have the demolition crew, the osteoclasts, and their job is to clear away the old, worn-out bone. To have strong bones, you've got to keep those two crews in perfect balance. And this whole process, this constant building up and tearing down, has a name. It's called bone remodeling. It's a lifelong cycle. The trouble starts when the demolition crew starts working way harder than the building crew. That's when your bone density starts to drop. And this is where the prunes come marching in. Research shows that things like the loss of estrogen after menopause can crank up inflammation and oxidative stress in the body. And those two things, they fire up the demolition crew, the osteoclast, and slow down the builders. Prunes, because they are packed with these amazing anti-inflammatory and antioxidant compounds, help fight back against that, tipping the scales back in favor of building new bone. Pretty cool, right? All right, now for our second unsung hero, boron. This is a trace mineral that almost never gets talked about, but it plays a surprisingly direct role in just how tough and resilient our bones really are. So think of boron as like the team manager. It helps the other key players, calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, do their jobs better. But what's really fascinating is that new research is showing it does more than just help out. It seems to directly contribute to actual bone strength. So you might be wondering, how do scientists even measure bone strength in a lab? Well, they use machines like this one to do what's called a 3-point bend test. It's a little intense, but what they do is apply force to a bone until it breaks. It gives them super precise, hard data on exactly how much force a bone can handle before it fails. And when they did this test, the results were just, wow. Look at this chart. This first bar here, this is the bone strength for the diabetic mice. Now look at the bar right next to it. Those are the diabetic mice that also got boron. Their bone strength was significantly higher. Boron didn't just help a little bit, it made their bones way more resistant to breaking. So the big takeaway here is that boron isn't just a rescue mission for bones that are already weak. It actively improves the internal structure, the microstructure, and the overall strength of bone in general. It suggests that getting enough boron is just a fundamental part of building a really strong skeleton from the inside out. Okay, so we've kind of busted the calcium-only myth, and we've met a couple of the other key players on the team. Now for the most important part. How do we take all this information and turn it into a practical plan for our own health? Let's boil it all down into a simple 3-step blueprint. First, start strength training. Now, we didn't dive deep into this today, but it's absolutely non-negotiable. The physical stress from lifting weights is a signal that tells your bones, hey, you need to get stronger. Second, add prunes to your diet. We now know that just 5 or 6 a day can help tip that remodeling scale in favor of building bone. And third, think beyond calcium. Start looking at your food and your supplements through the lens of the entire team. Are you getting those crucial supporting players like boron on board? So at the end of the day, the question we need to ask ourselves isn't just, am I getting enough calcium? The real question is my entire bone-building team showing up to work every single day? It's a total shift in how we think about it, but it can make all the difference for your health down the road. So, are you ready to build a better strategy?
All right, quick reset. Blink twice, stretch your shoulders, and don't worry, your health lesson isn't over yet. We're switching gears now, but this next topic is just as important for your body. And if you care about staying healthy the smart way, make sure you're subscribed.
Today, we're going to get into a topic that really, it affects every single one of us, aging. But we're going to challenge a really common belief. What if getting older didn't automatically have to mean getting weaker? Let's talk about how you can actually rewrite that story.
You know, it's a question I think we've all asked ourselves at some point, right? We see it in our parents, our grandparents, and we just kind of assume, well, that's going to be me too. But what if that whole idea that aging just equals weakness isn't the full picture? I mean, it starts with the little things, doesn't it? That jar lid that just won't budge, or the grocery bags that suddenly feel a lot heavier than they used to. These aren't just annoying moments. They're actually little signals of a huge change that's happening inside our muscles.
So this whole process, it has a name, sarcopenia. And I want you to look at that date, 2016. Now that is a really big deal because that's when the medical community officially recognized sarcopenia not just as a part of aging, but as a disease. And that changes everything. See, a disease isn't some inevitable fate. It's a condition we can actively fight and in many cases even reverse.
And the numbers here are, well, they're pretty eye-opening. Once you hit 30, if you're not very active, you can lose 3 to 5% of your muscle mass every single decade. And yeah, that decline can speed up after 50, but here's the good news. It is absolutely not a one-way street.
So how do we actually fight back against this? Well, the answer isn't some magic pill. It's all rooted in the science of how our bodies are designed to work. So let's dive into the mechanics of rebuilding.
The key process, the one we really need to turn on, is called muscle protein synthesis. You'll hear it called MPS. Think of this as your body's own natural muscle building engine. Our whole goal is just to keep that engine humming along, no matter how old we are. Okay, let's use an analogy to make this super simple. Imagine your body is a construction site, and the main project? To build stronger muscles. Now, just like any good construction project, you're going to need a solid plan to get it done right. And here is that building plan, broken down into 3 simple steps. First, you need the signal. Resistance training, that's like the foreman on the job site, yelling out the orders that it's time to build. Second, you need the materials. Dietary protein, that's your bricks and mortar. And third, you need the construction crew. That's your sleep and recovery. They're the overnight team that does all the real building and repair work. And this really puts it all together. You can see how this cycle works. You train to create the demand for muscle, you fuel up with protein to supply the materials, and then you recover to let your body actually do the construction. Every single part is essential. If you take one of those away, the whole project just grinds to a halt.
Okay, so we've got the science down. Now for the really good part. How do we actually do this? Let's build your anti-aging toolkit. And honestly, it all comes down to 3 core pillars.
Pillar number 1 is to train. And look, you do not have to live in the gym. Seriously, for a beginner, 2 to 3 full body workouts a week is a fantastic place to start. And the real key here isn't about lifting crazy heavy weights. It's all about being consistent and using good form. Just show your muscles they're needed, and I promise you, they will respond.
Pillar number 2 is to fuel your body the right way. Just like we saw in that construction analogy, protein is completely non-negotiable. It gives your body the essential amino acids. Those are the literal building blocks that it needs to repair the muscle you challenge during your workout and then build it back even stronger.
And we can actually get even more specific. A lot of research points to this sweet spot, about 20 to 25 grams of high-quality protein right after a workout. That amount seems to be just perfect for kicking that muscle-building engine into high gear.
And finally, pillar number 3, you have to recover. This is honestly where the magic happens. Muscle isn't built in the gym while you're lifting, it's built while you rest. So aiming for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, that's crucial. And on your off days, doing some light activity like walking or stretching, we call that active recovery, can boost blood flow and help speed up that whole repair process. All right, so now you have the toolkit, but how do you take that very first step? That can be the hardest part, right? So let's map out a really simple and safe way for you to begin your journey like today. But before you jump in, a quick but really important note on safety. There's a simple little screening tool called the PAR-Q, or Physical Activity Readiness Questionnaire. It's just a quick checklist to see if you should chat with a doctor first. And you know, if you're over 69 and you're new to exercise, having that conversation is always a great idea. So what does all this look like in a real week? Well, here's a sample schedule. Notice it's not about being in the gym every single day. Not at all. It's a smart balance of work and rest, and it's designed for progress that you can actually stick with, not for burnout. This is what consistency looks like.
And what about the exercises themselves? Well, you want to start simple. A basic bicep curl is a perfect example. It directly builds the kind of strength you need for everyday things like lifting a bag or carrying your grandkids.
Here's another fantastic one you can do absolutely anywhere, the pelvic tilt. It strengthens your core, it helps support good posture, and the best part?
You don't need any equipment at all. See, strength training doesn't have to be complicated or expensive.
So let's just bring this all home. By applying these simple principles, we're doing so much more than just building muscle. We are actively, powerfully redefining what our future is going to look like.
And you know, this isn't just about a personal journey, it's really a public health opportunity. As former Surgeon General Dr. David Satcher said, the goal is for us to grow stronger together. It's about creating a culture where we prioritize vitality and strength at every single age.
And that really is the ultimate takeaway here. This isn't about looking good in a mirror or lifting heavy things for bragging rights. It's about being able to play on the floor with your grandkids, carry your own groceries, live in your own home, to just engage fully with the world for as long as you possibly can. It's about freedom.
So I'm going to leave you with this question to think about. Stop thinking about what age might take away from you and start thinking about what strength can give back. What adventures, what joys, what freedoms are you going to claim? The power to decide that, well, it's in your hands.
Thank you for being here with me today. Remember, small choices create big changes. Keep nourishing your health with love and consistency. See you in the next Vital Elixir video.